Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast with Jay Gordon Duncan. And if you're wondering why the J, the answer is, I'm not a bagpipe player. And if that joke doesn't make any sense, I encourage you to check out episode 0, where I explain that joke, as well as the purpose of the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast, where we talk about faith, family, fitness, finances, and sometimes fun. Hey gang, welcome back to the This Is Gonna Hurt podcast. As always, I've got to start with thank yous, especially thank yous for last week. I went back and I looked over that episode, and at the beginning of the episode, I'm talking, I'm engaged, I'm sitting up, and by the end of the episode, I'm doing this. I'm back here doing this thing like we're sitting in a dorm room, and I know you probably don't care, but I just thought, Gordon, you got to get your energy together. So thank you for everybody who watched. If you listened to that episode, hopefully you didn't notice. But by the second half of last week's episode, you probably thought, what in the world is going on with Gordon? And so, hey, I'm going to quit talking about myself in the third person like that. But guys, thank you so much for listening, your reviews, your likes, everything. It means a ton. And I thought that would be a good segue to this topic. Listen, guys, you know I have a lot going on. A lot of you guys do. We have business owners, we have church planters, we have parents. Most everybody who watches and listens to the show wears a lot of hats, a lot of roles. You walk into a room and you ask yourself, who am I supposed to be in this room today? And that's just the nature of society today. It's the nature of the pace of our culture. Well, if you're going to do that, you have to figure out how to navigate the peaks and the valleys. And navigating the peaks is just as important as the valleys. And what I mean by that is learning how to handle the really great stuff is just as important as handling the lowest of lows. Because you've got to learn how to navigate the winds. If you don't learn how to navigate the winds, you stay up there in the clouds, and then all of a sudden the bottom falls out, and you're not ready for it. So that's what I'd like to talk about. Today we've got 3 tips for navigating the highs and the lows. I think 2 of them you can implement immediately. The third one's an option. It's one that I use. I know it may not work for everybody, but I want to share a low with you. This is a story I may have told before, but after 400 plus episodes, who knows? It's okay to tell it again. But I remember early on, it was 2003, and I had just started my first business, my eye care consulting business. I was also an assistant pastor at a church, making a whopping $100 a month. And then I was a full-time seminary student, full-time master's student. So those are the hats I'm wearing. Amy and I, we had Meredith, and if I'm not mistaken, in this scene right here, we were about to have Landry. We were broke as dirt, and Amy's sister had moved in with us, which was awesome, helping us with the mortgage and helping us out with childcare, all that craziness, right? And my primary income came by consulting with eye doctors. And what that meant is I would go into an eye care facility, and I still do this today. It's a lot of fun. And I would help the practice and the management with profit and loss. I would train their eye care selling staff. I would train the front desk. We'd look at the books. I mean, basically anything in an eye care office, except for being the doctor, I could help consult on. And the goal typically was smoother management and increased revenue. And I was very young as a business person. This was essentially my first gig. And I was working with a doctor. He had 3 or 4 practices. I can't remember. I think it was 4. A couple of them were part-time. But he had 2 main practices that he was just killing at. And then the others, he was there a couple days a week. And so the idea was here, he had grown very quickly, and he had to manage all this. And he had his wife was sort of the manager of all 4 of them. He was the main doctor, and then he had some great staff. And so I was there to help with profit and loss, and it was a good relationship. It was going well, but with consulting, these things typically have an end. And I remember I made a mistake. This doctor had needed a front desk person, and I found him a front desk person. It was actually someone I knew, one of my former employees, who had performed really well at my practice, had gotten them a good salary, and really thought, hey, this is a win-win for everybody. Win for the doctor, win for my friend, win for me. And for whatever the case was, my friend did not perform very well. She didn't come in, and she wasn't the all-star employee that she had been with me. And the doctor was getting frustrated because he had made this commitment on my recommendation, and I could tell that he wanted to let her go, and he wanted me to make that decision, and I was hesitating. So it was a crucial decision one of the very first for me as a business owner. And I delayed and delayed. And I walked in that day, and the doctor just told me, hey, I don't need your services anymore. So you got to remember, I was doing optometric consulting, and aside from that, the only revenue we had as a family, the only income was $100 a month as an assistant pastor, and then I was a seminary student. So that meant mortgage, car payment, a baby on the way, and I had $100 a month to my name. So I left. It was about mid-morning, and I came home. And by the time I got home, it was maybe 10:30 or 11. And Amy, my wife, said, "What are you doing here?" And I told her, "Well, I've been let go." And she said, "What are you going to do?" She's like, "Hey, Gordon, what are you going to do for us?" And I said, "Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat a sandwich, and then I'm going to go knock on the door of every eye doctor I know and ask for a gig." So calmly ate lunch with Amy, hopped in my car, and started driving around. And if the doctor didn't need my services, I was asking for a referral. And so I was looking into that database of people I knew. And that was the only way I knew to navigate that valley, that low point. Now, what got me there was that I had a goal. The goal at that point was survival of my family and finishing seminary. Like, it was I knew I could finish my master's degree in 2 years was the process I was going for. And I had people who depended upon me. And there wasn't an opportunity for me to wallow in self-pity or grief or any of those other things. There was this goal. And I wanted to succeed. I wanted to be good at this first business. And that goal is what got me there, is what kept me going. And within, I believe it was a little bit less than 2 weeks, I had found another gig with an eye doctor. And in fact, I stayed with that eye doctor. Wow. There was one there for about 4 or 5 years, and I picked up another and was with him for about 6 or 7. Really successful consulting gigs. And then I had other ones along the way. Now, navigating the peaks is just as important. I'll give you an example from this week. I've been working really hard to grow Capitalized Marketing. And this week, we picked up 2 clients on a Tuesday. One client I've been pursuing for 3 months. One client I've been pursuing for about 10 days. And closing both those deals, I went home. It was fantastic. Had a moment just kind of sitting by myself when I got home to celebrate it. But you know what? That next morning, there was an empty feeling. Like, Gordon, go do it again. I'm talking to myself again. Go do it again. Go do it again. I had to navigate that high. Because if I didn't navigate that high, when I got up the next morning, I'd have been like, I'm back at zero. But I had to remind myself, hey, this is tremendous success. People are trusting. The Capitalize Your Best program is working. We've got results. People are pursuing me and as less, and I don't have to pursue them as much. I mean, all those are those things. And so if you don't have a system for navigating the highs and the lows, it's going to devastate you. You don't have to be a business owner like me. You might just be a mom or a dad, which is incredibly important. You might own just one business doing one thing. All those things are incredibly important. But if you don't have a system for navigating the highs and the lows, it's just going to crush you. And when you get crushed, then all of a sudden progress begins to stop, or damage begins to happen with relationships, financial, all that. So, having told those stories, let me give you 3 steps to help you navigate the peaks and the valleys. The first 2 I think anybody can do. Third one is an option, and I'll explain why it works for me. I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee. Despite my pace, I'm under-caffeinated at this point in time, so I had to make sure I get a sip there. So let me tell you what those 3 things are right now. First of all, you've heard me talk about them already. Goals, gratitude, and the third one is faith. Let me talk about goals and gratitude. I am a person who says your goals should be massive. When someone tells me, well, I only set goals I know I can meet, those aren't goals, those are expectations. That's like saying, well, my goal is to get out of bed tomorrow. And I know that's not easy for everybody. But if it's something you're already doing, it's not a goal. A goal is intended to stretch you. And my goals are huge. Massive goals that require massive action. And the book Atomic Habits, if you haven't read it, read it. That quote is amazing. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. You don't rise to the level of goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So if you've got big goals, then you begin to create systems around that goal to help you accomplish it. So I know the financial goals I have for Capitalized Marketing. I know the financial goals I have for myself. I know the goals I have for my clients. Great. Now I have to create systems around it. So when I hit a peak or a valley, fantastic, but I have the systems to keep going. So I have a great day on Tuesday, and I get back to Wednesday. I'm like, what am I going to do now? I have a system that enables me to do that. If I have a terrible day on Wednesday and I lose a client, that's all right. I have a system to help me gain clients the next day. So for you, navigating the peaks and the valleys, what's necessary is to have big, giant goals. Goals that propel you into your day, and then systems that support that goal. Goals alone won't do it. Now, I'm going to encourage you, set goals, write them down, know what they are, make them specific. And you might say, Gordon, I don't like it because if I set a goal and I don't make it, I beat myself up. And I'm going to offer that most people are beating themselves up every day anyway. So why don't you have goals that propel you? You can have moments to celebrate. I'm going to tell you what, that 15 minutes at my house on Tuesday night, because I had a busy night. I had stuff to do that night. I got home. I only really had like an hour to rest before I went to bed. And I just sat there in my chair, didn't watch television, and the family was around. They were watching television, but I wasn't facing it. And I just sat there, and I enjoyed that time. I did. And then Wednesday got up, and then my goals propelled me into my day. It's the same way with running. I wake up the next day, I know what I'm going to do. I go to bed prepared so that I can meet my goals in the morning. So first of all, navigating peaks and valleys, you got to have goals and the systems to support it. 2, you can hear me talk about this all the time, gratitude. Gratitude. If you aren't thankful for what you have, I don't know why anybody would expect to entrust you with more. Let me say that again. If you're not thankful for what you have, I don't know why anybody would entrust you with more. Gratitude. If you are thankful, you can navigate anything. If you have a big, giant meal with family and it's wonderful and celebratory, you're going to be like, I'm thankful for this moment, and you'll get every bit of it out. If you have a strain in a relationship, your gratitude, but I am thankful for this person because of the X, Y, and Z, you can then navigate those relationships. Gratitude is one of the absolute keys to navigate peaks and valleys. Also, here's another thing. In sales, if you're thankful, you won't be desperate. If you're in sales and the person you're selling to gets a whiff that you're desperate, they don't want to do business with you. People don't do business with desperate people. If you're thankful and you're operating from a place of gratitude, people are going to want to do business with you. Gratitude helps you navigate the highs and the lows and also gets rid of that nasty desperation. I get it. I've been desperate. Like, please do business with me. I get it. But if you're moving into those conversations with gratitude, then you won't be desperate or as desperate, and people are going to want to do business with you. People are going to always want to do business with people who are not desperate. So, goals, gratitude. Now let me talk about faith. I said the first 2 are going to work for you, that the third one is an option. I understand that there's a variety of faith backgrounds who watch and listen to the show. Very thankful, very much. I think you guys know my faith background is that I'm a Christian, and I respect folks here who come from different perspectives. So for me, here's how my faith helps me navigate the peaks and the valleys. First of all, I've already gone through goals and gratitude. So my gratitude and my goals push into that, right? Very much so. They're very interrelated. But here's the thing. I believe that God has entrusted me with gifts and talents. And it is my responsibility to steward or manage those gifts and talents well, to continually grow them and for them to produce results. That's part of God trusting me. It's just like if you have a child, you give them a little bit of responsibility, and if they do well, you give them a little bit more responsibility, and you go from there and there, right? It's a test. You can stay out till 8. Don't be late. And if they're able to do that, then you go till 9. It's the way we operate. So I believe that I've been trusted with gifts and talents, and it's my responsibility to grow them, to steward them and manage them, and to multiply them. So when I hit a peak or a valley, that's where my faith kicks in. That I know that in the peaks and the valleys, I'll say, okay, God, thank you for this wonderful opportunity you've given me, and thank you for this result. And if I hit a valley, a low point, I'm going to say, God, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the result. And then I'll continue moving forward in faith. Now, I understand that people here, not everybody operates with a faith perspective. So listen to me if you don't. I still think that it's possible for everyone to believe that they've been entrusted with gifts and talents and to grow and to multiply them. So in your peaks and valleys, just remember that you've been given those things. And that everything, no matter what the operational system is if you've been given something and it's your opportunity to grow it, then it's your responsibility to care for it and multiply it. And so for me, I believe that God has entrusted me with gifts and talents. Part of what I'm doing here, part of what I do with Capitalize Your Best, even all the way to Capitalize Coffee into my running, I believe that I've been gifted with gifts and talents. It's my responsibility to navigate them, to steward them, and to manage and to multiply them. So when I hit a peak, guess what? My faith moves me towards that gratitude, right? And then when I hit a valley, that faith moves me towards gratitude. And my goals are part of my design to grow and to multiply my gifts. So peaks and valleys, please, I got tons of stories where I didn't navigate them well. I've navigated some okay, but I've got plenty of stories where I just didn't navigate them well. But here's the thing. I try to navigate my lows in about 24 hours. I give myself the opportunity to feel the emotion. I do. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, it's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. I got goals, I got gratitude, and I've got faith. It's a brand new day. And you know what? When I have those big moments and you sign a bunch of clients, you know what? I enjoy it. Next day, brand new day. Next day is always a brand new day. Start it with gratitude and goals and faith, and then that helps me navigate. So today, great morning. Got up, ran 18 miles, training for a marathon, felt great. Put on an outfit, felt good, and guess what? I spilled coffee all over my pants. If you can see my khakis right now, there's a big giant coffee stain. You know what? Can't do anything about it. Right after this, I've got meetings. I've got them back-to-back all afternoon. My sport coat covers is up a little bit. That's a small valley. It really is. And you know what? If anyone sees it, I'm just going to make a joke out of it. I'm like, I don't know, guys. Maybe I just need a bib. I'm just going to make a joke about it and go from there. But I can't worry about it. It's a small valley, right? I can look at it and go, I'm very thankful. Right? I got so much to be thankful for. I got my run in this morning. I got my coffee. My daughter Landry pulled this shot for me. She's my favorite barista. I got a chance to see her. Lots of things to be thankful for. So guys, hear me. I don't handle it all right. I never do. But goals, gratitude, and faith will help you navigate peaks and valleys. So guys, that's it. Listen, I want to say thank you for watching. I want to thank you for checking out Capitalize Coffee at capitalizecoffee.com and all the ways you support us. We do have some guests coming up. I know this is about third show in a row with just me talking, but I appreciate the feedback. So the guests coming up are community service leaders and even a couple of folks nationally who've committed. Those are coming up. But here's the most important thing. I can't wait to see you next week. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks, gang. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
How do you shorten the time it takes to buy a car? Car buying just got easier. Pohanka365.com lets you complete as much or as little of the car buying process online. Pohanka365.com. Car buying simplified. Anytime, anywhere.
Small business owners, you should be praised for wanting to grow your business. That's a good thing, and not everybody has the guts to do it. As a business owner myself, I know you've overcome obstacles that people don't even know about. Hi, my name is Gordon Duncan, the owner of Capitalize Marketing and Consulting, and I want you to know that if your business hasn't grown like you want it to, it's not your fault. If it's not COVID getting in the way, it's ridiculous things like changing social media algorithms. You're right in thinking that very few people are doing small businesses any favors right now. But Capitalize Marketing and Consulting is here to help. We've created a 90-day course that is guaranteed to grow the revenue of your business. It will give you the tools that you've been looking for, and as a certified coach, I would be with you along the way. If you would like to learn more about our program, just visit capitalizeyourbest.com and get started enjoying the success you deserve. Again, that's capitalizeyourbest.com, and I can't wait to celebrate all you accomplish.